Hi, I'm Nina Boski, and welcome to LifeBites, where each and every week we'll get you inspired in the areas of life, business, and media. We'll help you dare, dream, do, and be so you can get out of your head into your soul in order to tune in and take a bite. This week, we are getting you business inspired. Hi, everybody. My name is Nina Boski, and this is LifeBites Business Inspired. And do I have a special guest for you? Her name is Dame Natalie Ledwell. She's one of my favorite people, and she is a best-selling author. She is the host of the podcast It's Not Over, Just Different. And she is also the founder of Mind Movies, a personal growth company that reaches over 10 million people worldwide. This woman's on the move. She also has developed a curriculum for youth 5 to 18 years old that allows them to have personal growth tools, visualization, emotional techniques, and skill sets that allows them to have a bright future. So it's kind of like Mind Movies for the youth, but more. Well, welcome, Natalie. I'm so glad to have you today.
It's always good to see you, Nina. I'm excited for our conversation today.
I am too. You know, you're such a delight and you have such a positive energy about you. Has it always been that way in regards to thinking about, you've got businesses, creating mind movies that's reaching over 10 million people. You're now doing curriculum in schools. It's like bing, bing, boom. What else can this woman do? Right? Has it always been that way?
I think I've always been a doer. Action has never been my problem. My first career was in the fitness industry, and I started managing fitness clubs when I was 21 years old. And I talked my way into a job. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I could figure this out. I'm thinking I could do a better job than whatever you're doing. Anyway, I did figure it out. And I really felt in that career I was doing something positive, like I was making a difference. I was helping other club owners, manage their teams and systemize their business. And, and I was just in my jam. But after 10 years of that, I'm like, I've done this now. What's next? And then I met my husband, and our first business together was a nightclub, which was like a 180 turn from that. And I remember having a moment after we bought the club thinking, I'm not meant to be here. This is not my life's path. I'm pretty sure I am not meant to be here. And we went through this 10-year time of what I call my beige years. So we had a lot of different businesses. We had varying levels of success, but I felt like we were just going through the motions. It was, we had coffee franchises and in property and blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't until a friend came to us with this little, slideshow he put together, which we ended up calling a mind movie, which was his version of a vision board, of all the things he wanted to create. And it was like this moving little dynamic video. And then we started getting emails from people going, this is changing my life. I'm like, oh, okay, that spark, was lit up in me again. And I've since come to realize that my big motivator, or who I am on the planet, is a contributor.
Yeah.
I want to make a difference. And so that's why I had this 10 years of like, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is just all crazy. And I didn't feel amazing. That's why I call them beige years, because beige is just one of those nothing colors. But when I look back, it's like, I know there was some kind of life experience, business experience, lesson from every single one of those things that helped us not only recognize the opportunity Mind Movies was, but helped us be able to capitalize on it because we had all this business experience that we brought to the table.
So let's back up the truck for people that might not know what exactly is a mind movie. So what is it?
Yeah. So a mind movie is a visualization tool. So we actually got the idea, we'd seen the movie The Secret, had just been on Oprah. Everyone was talking about the law of attraction. And part of the manifestation process is that you need to be able to see yourself already living that future in your mind. And you need to feel the emotions that you will be feeling when you're in that moment. So a lot of people would create a vision board. and they'll cut out photos of the house they want or the car or the vacation. So when they look at these pictures on the board, it's easier for them to imagine themselves or visualize themselves already on that vacation or living in that house. Well, a mind movie takes it a little step further. So it is a little slideshow that you create, and we've created software to make it very easy for you to make your own with your own dreams and your own goals. But it combines affirmations. So the affirmations are, how we articulate or how we describe the future that we want, but using positive language and describing it as if it's happening now, because that's how we want to visualize it, as if it's happening now, right? Then you have the affirmations. Underneath the affirmations of photos, like there are images like you would have on a vision board that gives your brain a place to build that vision from. But the secret sauce is the music.
Yes.
Because music elicits a certain emotion. Like my Love My movie that I used to attract my partner, I used a love song.
I love it.
Yeah, and the My movie that I do for the kids program, I use a song called Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. If you hear the lyrics of that song, it's like, you're beautiful, doesn't matter what they say, because we're working with a lot of kids that are being bullied and have low self-esteem. So, you choose a song that's the right soundtrack for what you have in that movie, and then you have this very powerful little tool that you can carry around on your phone or your device. Watch it at any time to get you motivated and to get you to become a vibrational match energetically through your emotions and your thoughts to, the result that you're looking to create, or to the end result there.
Well, because also, you and I know this, your brain sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, doesn't know what is if you have the feeling and you're visualizing it, perception is reality. And so it starts to think that it's actually a vibrational match because you're seeing it and you're attracting it to you. That's divine timing, because the secret comes out, you start your company, and now it's reached over 10 million people, and it's unbelievable. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about visualization, because there is a power to visualization. So what's the connection for people that may have a business idea, a dream, a project that they want to get off the ground, Natalie?
Yeah. So how I recommend that you visualize, and I was taught this by Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I've been working with for many years, is rather than when you close your eyes, seeing yourself as a character in a movie, you actually want to put yourself in the moment as if you're experiencing it right now. Now, we can go, look, I want an outrageously successful business. You go, well, that's great. But to visualize that, sometimes it's difficult, because it's like, well, what does that mean? And what does that look like? And what is the business? But even if you don't know what the business is yet, or you don't know what the dream is yet, but you've got a macro idea, like I want a business and I want it to be successful and I want to be financially free. You're like, great. And maybe part of the purpose of that business is that you want to help people. Great. We can start there. You don't need to know the whole plan. You just can start from there. So what I would do in that situation, if I'm visualizing that, I would visualize myself, I would see myself sitting at a desk with someone across from me. So I would feel the chair underneath my butt, because I want to be eliciting all of the senses I can. I want to be able to feel how hard the table is that's in front of me. I'm feeling the coolness of the air conditioning in the room. And I have this person across from me, and they're telling me how much their life has changed because of my service or my product, or how I, help them or coach them or whatever that is. And so I can hear them speaking. And what I'm feeling in that moment is pride. I'm feeling accomplishment. And I'm feeling like I'm fulfilling my purpose, because they are the emotions I'm going to feel in that moment. So whatever those emotions are going to be, that's what you want to feel. And you want to make that visualization as real as possible, because our subconscious mind really doesn't know the difference. Now, how we create and how we influence, our resonance, or the frequency that we send out into the universe, is through our emotions and our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're seeing that image as if it's already happening now, and we're feeling the emotions, what that's going to be like, we've just become a homing beacon to everything that we need to make that happen. Now, when you initially create that visualization, you may be sitting down, you may have your eyes closed, you may be, really going through the motions with that. But then after you've created it, you don't need to be sitting down with your eyes closed. You could be vacuuming the house. You could be driving the car. You could be doing some kind of activity that doesn't require a lot of conscious thought. And then you can have a little mental vacation into your future by going back into that visualization as well.
So here's the thing with this, because I always say it's not just what you're creating, it's the energy in which you create, right? So this is kind of the concept that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people out there. Let's say they're in a demanding job and they've got kids and they're like, gosh, I just don't want to do this anymore. Oh my gosh, Natalie, that's great. But who's got the time or energy to do that? What would you say to somebody that's in the mechanics versus, oh gosh, I don't even have the space to do that in my life?
Right. Well, I think and I'll tell a little story about the nightclub, because like I said, I had a moment there. I'm like, I am not meant to be here, and I even said to my husband at the time, and we got married 2 weeks after we bought the nightclub, so it was crazy times. And I said, look, I don't think I can do this. Like, I feel like this is sucking my soul. Like, this is not where I'm meant to be. And then we, had a discussion, and he's like, well, if you, get another job, then you'll be working weeks. I'll be working weekends. We won't get to see each other. And I'm like, you're right. And my marriage was important to me. We just got married. So I had to figure out a way to stay and be happy.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to be able to change the way that I saw things and perceived things, because what I do know, and as you just mentioned, the frequency and the energy that we're in permeates out into everything. And the challenge that we have is that if we're in a place where we're frustrated, or we're in pain, or we're lonely, or we're in debt, and all we're focusing on is that, all we're doing is creating more of the same.
Exactly.
So we need to get into what I call your happy place. You need to get in a place where you start to feel good, and gratitude is one of the fastest ways to get there. And being grateful for what you already have. And if it's something to do like with a job like that, where you're thinking this is sucking my soul and I don't think I can do this anymore, but it's not the time yet to be able to leave, then you go, okay, how do I shift this? What are the things I do like about this job? What is something that I can look at, that I can hold on to, that is going to help me see this differently or shift this differently? Because if you're looking at that job and all you see are all the things you hate about it, then that's only what's going to be showing up.
Yeah, energy follows thought, right? I mean, it's so true. And you talked about purpose, and I think about this too, even in the work that I do, even the work that you do. If we got up every morning and said, oh my gosh, I've got 10 clients, I've got a training, I've got all these meetings, etc., that doesn't plug into a purpose. But if I say, wow, I'm transforming people's lives today, that jazzes me. So you had to find your jazz, your passion, that meter that lit you up, whereas the nightclub didn't. And I loved what you said. I'm a contributor. I love that.
So, what I had to do was go, okay, well, I'm not having the positive thing changing people's lives, but how do I contribute into making sure that when anyone comes into this nightclub, that they are having an amazing experience? And I had to shift it to that. And how do I do that? Well, everything I learned in fitness, it's a service industry, same as nightclubs, even though it's, a completely kind of
different types of energies, but
exactly. We had a 6 a.m. license. I used to get up and open the gym at 6 a.m. Now I was working till 6 a.m. It was a whole situation. But it really helped me to go, okay, well, I want to make sure that when, our nightclub is the best. And all of the things I learned on how to do that in fitness, I was able now to apply to our own business. And we had that club for 5 years. It was #1 club in Sydney for 4 of those 5 years. And we had a fantastic and successful business because I was able to shift the way that I thought about that. And that's the way, yeah.
One of the things that I love about you particularly, there's a lot of people that know how to visualize and they do what they do. But you are a person that loves to have fun with what you're doing. I think with what you're talking about, I say to people all the time, let's have a little bit more fun because whatever you're creating, it's a lighter energy and you can create it faster when you're enjoying it, right? But you've got such an enthusiastic way about you. People are drawn to you, which is wonderful. And you're doing mind movies. So they go to mindmovies.com, right? If they want to create their own mind movie to start manifesting their dream or their business, right?
Yeah.
But you also are hosting a podcast. And so talk to us a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah, so the podcast was, my business partner, Glenn, who's now my ex-husband, but we're still business partners together. He's like, Nat, I think you should do a podcast. I'm like, oh, really? I don't know about that. And I'm like, I mean, I could. I mean, I had got into this place where my mantra was just because I can doesn't mean I should. And I'm like, do I really need to do a podcast? He goes, yes, I think you should do it. I go, all right, well, I'm not going to talk about law of attraction because I do that enough with mind movies. Let's look at something different. And what my passion was, I'm now in my 50s, and
You look fabulous,
I
darling.
realized, but I realized that there are like things that are happening at this time of my life that I had no idea were coming. Like, why aren't we talking about these things a little more? And so the podcast is called Not Over, Just Different, which was the phrase I coined when Glenn and I separated. It's like, dude, our relationship isn't over. It's just transformed into something different. But that's how I feel about life.
Yeah.
And we get to this time of our life, and we have all this life experience, and we have all this knowledge, and we have still this vitality and this health. We are in the perfect position. We don't have the responsibilities that we had when we were younger. The kids are growing up, and so forth. So it's like, now is the time. If I want to contribute or if I want to follow my dream or step into my passion, now is the perfect time in our life to do that. So the podcast talks about that. How do we step into this next chapter of our lives? And not just, from a business point of view, but from a health point of view. I mean, menopause, no one talks about this stuff. I'm like, I remember being at
let alone perimenopause, the precursor to menopause, right? Where your body really starts changing. Nobody talks about that as well.
Yeah.
I think that, you take things that light you up and you create from that place and you just jump in and do. So you are a doer per se, but are the things that light you up. And then you shifted or are shifting to schools. So tell us a little bit about that and how you are contributing to our younger youth.
Yes. Well, I had created the children's version of my movies, wasn't quite sure what to do with it. And then through a random serendipitous series of events, ended up creating a 12 lesson program for students in Colombia. And we donated a whole bunch of mind movies accounts for there. And then everyone's like, okay, well, what happens after the 12 lessons? I'm like, I don't know. And so it kind of sat on the shelf for a little bit. And I had my own story going on. I can't really do this kids thing. I'm not qualified. I don't even have kids, like that whole story. And then I saw a news article about this little 10-year-old girl who had committed suicide.
Oh.
And it's 10 because she was being bullied.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is unacceptable. And the thing is, I think that especially when you're someone who's capable, you go, look, I could make a difference here. I could do this. I'm like, no, I need to laser focus on one thing. I need to choose a lane and then just put all of my energy into that. I need to choose something that I know that I can feel that I can move the needle and that I actually can make a difference.
Yeah.
So, a girlfriend of mine, not long after that, reached out to me and said, look, let's do this together. She's got 2 master's degrees, in mental, health therapy and play therapy. And she's worked with kids all around the world and she's a trauma specialist. But so that together we put this whole program together. And, when you understand the mechanics of manifesting, there has been the little voice in me going, who do you think you are? You're not really like, why do you think you can do this? And then there's the other part of me going, I know I can do anything I want. Like, I know I can create anything. And it's not like I'm doing it myself and I'm taking all the accolades, but I'm attracting the right people and the right opportunities to me, which is what it's all about, what it means to be this vibrational match to what you want. Doesn't mean that you have to complete everything yourself, but you're attracting the right people, opportunities, and resources that you need to make it happen.
Well, I love what you said too about there's this voice over here that says this, that says, who are you to do this? And then there's the other voice that says, yes, I can have anything that I want. And I think what you've been able to achieve, and I think this would be really good for our audience to really hear, is don't listen to that doubtful voice. Listen to the voice that says, override it and says, yes, I can, because you have to do it in spite of your fears and doubts and everything else. Because I don't know about you, but 9 out of 10 times when I go for it, after the fact, I go, oh my gosh, that was just a limiting belief that kept me comfortable, kept me same time, same bat channel, doing the same thing over and over again and not creating and manifesting. And I love what you said, because the voice could be there and yet you do it in spite of. And I think some people forget that and they listen to the doubtful voice instead of the voice that says go for it. And if you didn't listen to that voice, we wouldn't have this curriculum in the schools that speaks to people that have been bullied, speaks to people that have been traumatized. So I love what you're doing on all fronts. You got mind movies, you got the podcast, you got the curriculum, you've created multiple businesses. What advice would you give to somebody that either has an idea or wants to start their own business?
Oh, well, I do know that it doesn't matter where you come from, how old you are, what your past experience has been, where you grew up. When it comes to the mechanics of manifesting, everyone can do it. Every single person has the same ability to be able to do that. And so even if you're not quite sure what that dream is yet, or you're not quite sure what that business is yet, you just have that vision that you will have a successful business or that you will fulfill that dream. And then you just lean in. You lean in and go, okay, well, what could that be? I call it following the breadcrumbs. What did I enjoy doing in the past? What am I good at? What do people compliment me on? And go, okay, well, if these are the things that I like to do, what kind of a business would fulfill that, or that I would be able to show up with those skills? And then you do a little bit of research, and then you lean in a little bit more. And then you start to do your visualizations, see yourself enjoying what you're doing and being ecstatically happy at work and feeling like, you're making that difference or whatever that is. And then the more that you do that, more things will start to show up. More ideas will come in, more opportunities will start to present themselves. And then next thing you know, you're leaning into that dream, that future that you want. Now, the other thing that people often get immobilized by, they go, well, what if I make the wrong choice? What if that's not what I'm meant to do? It doesn't matter, because whatever that is going to lead you to what you're going to do next.
I was going to say, even what you're saying too about this is that follow the breadcrumbs is sometimes you find out what you love and like by finding out what you don't.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone down a road and I don't know if this is really for me, but I get out of my head. So I love what you're saying. Do your visualizations, do your mind movie, but then you got to get out there and you got to get out of your head and you've got to be able to watch that breadcrumb, because I think a lot of people are looking for the big aha moment. And sometimes it doesn't come in that aha moment. Sometimes it comes in the breadcrumbs that you get that aha moment. Oh, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be. Right. So, Natalie, where can they find Mind Movies?
Yeah. So if you go to mindmovies.com, that's our main website. There you can download 6 pre-made Mind Movies. So you can actually get an idea of what they are and give you some great ideas about what you want to put into your own Mind Movie. You get access to all of our programs there as well. And you also get access to the podcast through mindmovies.com as well.
I love it. And so, in terms of the podcast, they can get it there as well. Are you saying not over, just different, and they can
Yes.
look it up on Apple as well. And congratulations on what you're doing with the schools, because I think that we teach the mechanics of life in terms of math and English and all the things that we need to learn in terms of IQ, but emotional intelligence, the ability to be able to manage our own energies and that of others, and to be able to really heal and manifest and attract, it should be in schools everywhere. So thank you for doing that and contributing to the world in a very positive way.
Thank you, darling. Always great chatting with you, Nina.
Natalie Ledwell, I'm Nina Boski, and you are watching or listening to Life Bites Business Inspired.